We know that small businesses are the heartbeat of our country. We are proud to team up with them to share these inspiring stories. Companies like Petersen Plumbing and Heating, who count on Trane equipment to keep customers warm in the winter and cool in the summer, because it is hard to stop a train. He spends his days quietly working in a small print shop, but at night and for special events, this reserved man has a way of commanding attention. But it's not for himself.
Derek Grant, you play one of the most unique, unusual instruments people have ever seen. When you walk into a room with this, what are people saying to you?
Well, it usually turns a lot of heads when I strike up if they don't know I'm coming into the room.
His goal, to honor veterans and their families, like on this night, as men and women return from a trip to see the monuments and memorials in Washington, D.C.
Hundreds packed into the airport ready for a hero's welcome. But there is one sound that will silence this crowd. We take you to the heart of the story.
It is perhaps one of the most unique instruments you will ever see or hear. Derek Grant is in high demand these days for his skills that are becoming harder and harder to find.
Well, my family immigrated to the United States in 1968. My dad worked in a foundry in Scotland and it was going to close. So he put out applications to foundries in Canada, the United States, and Australia. And Durant, Iowa, the foundry in Durant, Iowa contacted him, so they sponsored my dad. He came to America in January of '68. And then my mom, my sister, and I came in September of '68.
Once here in America, the family tried to hold on to the culture from back home.
My mother asked me, they knew a fellow in Cedar Rapids who was a piper, and she says, "Do you want to take lessons from Mr. McLeod?" Well, I was 10 years old and I didn't want to, and she didn't push me into it.
But years later, he changed his tune.
My mother died before I met my wife, and when we decided to get married, we were going to have a Scottish wedding, so we hired a local bagpiper, Bill Lee, and I bought a kilt, and that couple came to our wedding as guests, and it turns out they were retiring and going back to Scotland. So Kenneth McLeod says, "Well, I didn't play these bagpipes anymore. You may as well have them."
And so it began.
So how exactly does this instrument work?
Well, Gary, the bagpipes are a wind instrument, of course. I blow air into the bag through the blow stick, and I fill the bag with air. It's a leather bag. And then we have a bass drone and two tenor drones, which are set an octave apart. The bass drone is an octave deeper than the tenors. Then I play the melody on the chanter, we call it the chanter, and it only has 8 holes on it, so there's only 9 notes on the bagpipe scale. All natural notes, no sharps and flats. So some music can't transfer to the bagpipes very readily without some altering.
So this is almost kind of like playing a flute in a way.
A recorder.
And you're forcing the air through with one arm, and the other has to manipulate the holes here to adjust the sound. Wow. So when you play, do you think of your family? Do you think of your heritage?
I do. There weren't any pipers in my dad's immediate family, but he had an uncle who had served in the British Army, and I think back there may have been a piper in my mom's family years ago. But I think about my mother because she never saw me play the bagpipes, but my dad always enjoyed me when I played, and we lost him 9 years ago, but he always enjoyed me playing the bagpipes at his house or at events.
Do you look up ever at the vets as they're coming through and see some of them crying or smiling and saying, "Boy, my music's getting to them a little bit"?
Especially when I'm going through the tunes, you know, if I'm playing the Marines hymn and I see a Marine, they always seem to perk up the most. The Marines love their Marines hymn, or the Navy when they hear Anchors Away. It grabs their attention when they hear the tune being played.
This has become almost a mission for you. You have a day job. But this is such a big part of your life now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I get called for honor flights, and then there's various police memorials, fire memorials that I play at.
Do you ever feel the emotion of the environment that you're around when you're playing? And if so, does that affect your music?
Sometimes if I'm playing at a funeral of a friend or somebody I know, I try not to think about it too much so I don't get choked up. But yeah, sometimes I do get the emotion.
It's something you'll do for as long as you can.
As long as they'll keep having me, as long as I can still fill the bag with air and squeeze the tune out, I'll keep doing it.
Hey, help us share more inspiring stories. Click on that photo of me and subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell a friend. More cool stories coming. The Heart of the Story with Gary Metivier.